Hello, and I hope all my friends and family and people listen have had a wonderful weekend. I certainly have. It was quite eventful. I experienced a couple of things this weekend which brought certain things to the surface and made me a bit more aware of myself and my surroundings and the people I get involved with. And I think it's quite essential for all of us to be mindful of the environment that or the environment that's presented to us at any given point in time. And it is really crucial that we pay attention to people who are within our proximity, because what I feel is through the experience of others and through observation, we can learn immensely about ourselves and our own being as to what we are required to do for others, what we are required to do for ourselves, making sure that the information we take in and the information that we give as well is quite relevant. And some of us forget and become blind and oblivious that there is so much around us that we can learn from, especially people who are coming out of trauma, who are trying to break an addiction, people who are attempting to learn life and better themselves. It is so very important that we stay switched on at all times, only because by you allowing yourself to be observant, to listen, to extract information, then you basically allow yourself to constantly be in a situation where you are constantly learning, and learning gives you power, learning gives you strength, learning gives you the ability to actually heal, because you are making sure that the information, and now when I say learning, I mean proactively, actively making sure that the information that you extract from conversations you have with people, from incidences that occur around you, or even within you, you make sure that you take the positive experiences, you take the information that is going to better your life, and making sure that you are quite vigilant when extracting that sort of information from people. Now, I was in a couple of group sessions. I deliberately put myself in these sessions to make sure I am constantly developing and learning, and my senses are always alert to various circumstances and various situations. And what I found out at a session that I was this weekend, uh, that it is so important that we pay attention to the people who we interact with and who are interacting with us. And I have, in a way, sort of said this in a couple of times in my past podcasts. Paying attention is quite essential, because we have to make sure that we are not wasting our energy that we have on people who are actually not paying attention to what we have to say, or the people who we are presenting ourselves. So for example, let's say if I am making an effort to understand the person across the table, if I am making an effort to interact with individuals around me, it is very essential that we pay attention to those who are giving back, and those who are not sitting in your midst and just taking the information you have for granted, or not paying attention to what you have to say. Because what that then does is it sort of it takes that valuable information that you're offering those individuals, and that valuable information gets wasted on people who don't deserve your time and space, and the energy that you should be giving to others is now divided between people who are not listening and people who are listening, and sometimes the people who are not listening pretend to listen. And therefore, because you are quite new to your environment, new to this environment, you tend to think that they lack or they're lacking in something, and you put a bit more effort into those individuals, and therefore denying the ones who are paying attention valuable lessons. So anyway, I was sitting amongst a group, and we were across talking about our life experiences, talking about how we can support each other in a way, in order for us to gain momentum in our lives. And what I noticed was, now this is not a play session. This is a session which is quite intense. This is a session where some of us were actually being quite transparent in who we are and in our lives. And then there were others who were quite preoccupied on their phones, preoccupied having little conversations between themselves, in little tiny whispers. And you think to yourself that hold on, we are here for a reason. We are here because we are here to learn from each other's stories and experiences, and to fill certain gaps in our lives. We may have heard these stories a number of times from other people, but the thing is, in this environment which is now new to us with new people, even though we probably heard scenarios in the past, regardless of the environment, in this particular moment, somebody who is explaining their lives to you, explaining their experiences to you, explaining the obstacles that they face and attempting to overcome, this in this very moment is new information coming from a new individual. And I was sitting and listening to one of the speakers, or one of the people in the group, and then I noticed a couple of these other people sitting across the room, preoccupied with their phones, and and I never said much, or never said much to them, but I was thinking to myself, how firstly, how inconsiderate are these individuals? How self-absorbed are these individuals? And then I corrected myself, and my focus went to the speaker, and 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 I was attempting to pay attention to this individual's words and actions, and they were extremely sincere. But what I then paid attention to, the speaker was attempting to get the attention of those individuals who were not very focused in the group to pay attention to what they had to say. And I could see certain scenarios being directed in 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 their direction, and whilst the rest of us were actually paying quite a lot of attention, and the session went for a few hours, and there was a break, etc. And a couple of speakers before the break, and a couple of speakers after the break, and invariably the speakers who spoke before the break did speak after the break as well. And there was this pattern that you did notice, which was for me quite of an eye opener, to the fact that here we are listening to an individual who is the reason why they're here is so that they are able to teach the rest of us certain life lessons, so that we can extract information from them and take it away and utilize it in our lives. If you're not doing so already, just making sure that what is working for them could possibly work for us. For example, in the case of addiction. So there are many people in these groups from various backgrounds. So let's say in case of addiction, if you are a smoker trying to give up smoking, trying to basically substitute the cigarettes maybe for chewing gum or Chupa Chups or a bottle of water, trying to not be in certain environments that support smoking, or be in environment of smokers who are constantly indulging in smoking. So taking yourself away from those environments, substituting them with activities that sort of distract you in that moment, and so you can put things in place. But then I saw these individuals who were totally oblivious to the information being provided and to the experiences being shared. And I go, why are you even here? Because there is a limited number of people who can attend these situations where if you weren't taking up those seats, maybe somebody else could have been in your place, learning from the experiences and learning from the lessons being taught this afternoon, rather than you just using the space just to maybe fill a void or time, because people do that. People come to certain events just because their life is empty and they got nothing to do that afternoon, so they jump on board. But what they don't realize is that space could be taken by somebody who genuinely needs the time, needs the information that is being shared by other individuals, because they genuinely want to change their lives. And they're not there for the time being, and they're not there to just tick a box, but they're generally there to make sure that they are learning, that they are gaining support. So the lesson I learned was that we have to make sure that we observe people closely, especially people who are trying, who we are attempting to explain our lives to, so we can learn and they can learn. And if you are in an environment where or around people that are not listening to you, or not observing, or are not sharing or coexisting, then I would say it's quite essential for you to either address those individuals or make sure that your energy is not directed to these individuals, rather than those who are there for the right reasons. And that's the reason why I got into this podcast, to explain to many of us how crucial it is for us to not waste time on individuals who are there just to take up space. Instead, we are indulging those individuals who are genuinely wanting to change their lives, who are genuinely wanting to make their lives better, and who are genuinely wanting to indulge and put in the hard work so that their tomorrow, their future, it changes, because they generally want to change the environment that they're living in, change how people perceive them, and therefore they do the hard yards. And we have to be cautious of the others who just are in those environments or in these spaces just to tick a box, so that they can go away and say, oh, guess what, I attended the group. Oh, guess what, I did what I had to do. Did they learn? No, because they weren't paying attention. Anyway, I wish we all learn lessons constantly from our environments, and we hopefully make sure that the energy that we do give out falls on those who generally are wanting to learn. Anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and have a wonderful week.